Patty, my love, what's going on? How are we doing?
Well, I'd like to know what I can do to move forward progressively. I caught my husband having an online affair 2 years ago, and I'm still not over it.
Ah, okay. So walk me back to that moment when you caught him. What happened?
Well, I think the Holy Spirit was urging me to look in his laptop, and I did, and right there it was.
Okay.
And I screenshot it all, confronted him with it, and I thought we had just reconciled after 3 years of separation, and he didn't deny it. He says, I don't know what's wrong. Maybe I'm just having a midlife crisis. He ended up going to a psychologist for a good probably 4 months, and then she dropped him. Something came up in her life, and he never went back.
Okay.
I went to marriage counseling on my own.
Good for you.
And she gave me some tools, how to work through it, but I just... that trust has just been betrayed, and I don't know how to get it back. I just don't know how.
So you were separated from him. Why were y'all separated?
Mental and physical abuse, and He's got a drinking problem.
Okay. So you're not psychologically safe, or you weren't for a period of time. You were not physically safe. And then you left. Mm-hmm. You got back together. And how long were you together before you found out that he was cheating on you?
We were back together probably about a year, 18 months.
Okay. And this is all 2 years ago. So fast forward to now. What's the state of your relationship right now?
It's much more loving, but
Okay.
I find myself whenever we're in a public situation that I am very aware of who else is in the room, in the establishment. I find myself watching him intently, taking everything he says directly to heart and not brushing it off, especially if he starts drinking. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting to the point where I just don't know how to deal with it anymore.
Do you want to be in this relationship?
Yes, and that's part of the problem. I do want to be in this relationship. I'm 55. This is my second marriage, his fourth marriage. Yeah,
but not failing is not a reason to stay in an unsafe, abusive, alcoholic, cheating marriage.
Oh, he has not done any of the above, aforementioned, since I busted him.
Okay.
It's just I can't seem to get over that hump and to let the trust come or not, and give him enough rope. Is he going to hang himself?
It's not the most encouraging analogy of this guy you're trying to rebuild with. I'm going to see if he'll just kill himself. Not a super firm foundation to rekindle a marriage on. Here's the thing. Kudos to you, right? Kudos to you, Patty, for owning this. One of the biggest challenges in relationships when there's infidelity, when there is a separation of any kind, right? A violation of values is this idea of we're going to come back together. And then once we come back together and you say, I'm all in, I am pushing all my cards on the table, I'm all in back on you, then that means you are committing to doing the work on your end too, to rebuild trust, to allow yourself to be trusted, right? Because you still don't trust Patty, right? To learn to trust him, and you're not doing that. So you passed my initial test, which is, do you even want to be in this relationship anymore? Why don't you just get out and move on, right? And your answer to me was, because I'm 55, and this is 2 for me and 4 for him, are you okay just being roommates and riding this thing out?
That's kind of what we've been doing.
Why are you settling for that? You're halfway done, Patty.
I know. I think there's something more in the horizon. I think there's something that I am meant to stay in this relationship. I have been praying and praying and praying, and I've asked. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I divorce? What do I do? And then I went to the Ramsey Solutions, and I started listening to your podcast, and then, you know what? I'm going to ask him.
So, Patty, when's the last time you woke up early before he gets up? and you went and cooked something that he loves, and he came in all snotty and gross and making old man noises, and you went up and grabbed his chin and you looked him in the eye and said, "I love you. I want you to know that." When's the last time that happened?
Oh, I do that darn near every weekend. I'm a day shift person. He is too, but I get up at 3:30 in the morning. He doesn't get up until 8. I start work at 6. He starts at 8:30.
So when's the last time he got up before you, made you breakfast, and looked you in the eye and said, "Honey, I love you, and I'm so glad that you stuck through my stupidity and my heartbreak and my addictions and my problems, and I'm so glad we're still here"?
I would say back when we first got together, because he doesn't think he's got a problem.
Okay. You told me he doesn't anymore, and I trust you. I don't believe you, but I trust you. Those aren't two things.
He doesn't think he's got a problem. He's maintained. Mm-hmm. There's no more abuse. Right. The drinking has gone down to minimal.
But Patty, you don't want to let this go.
No.
And I'm asking you why.
Because I love him.
No, not the relationship. Why won't you let go of just the sandbags you're carrying around from the last 5, 6, 7 years? Why won't you just put it down and head off into tomorrow?
Good question. I've tried that. I actually have tried to just let it go and move forward.
No. It's not an ethereal thing. It's not an ethereal thing. It's not something that you just declare. Like that one Office episode when Michael Scott comes out and he's like, "I declare bankruptcy." It's like, that's not how that works. There's a lot of forms. There's 7 years you get, right? It's a lot of stuff. But there's something about you that is hanging on to that past. And here's the thing. It's not weird that you are. You were hurt in a lot of different ways. You were married to somebody who was an alcoholic. Those are hard relationships because those are disconnection issues. That's hard. You've been through the trauma. There's a part of your brain that is protecting you 24/7 from this guy, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the other part of you that says, "I love him. I'm going to ride or die with this dude for as many years as I got left. I'm 55, so I'm about halfway done, right? Because you're going to live to be 110. Clevelanders just live forever, right? I don't know if that's true.
Well,
I just made
asked
that
the
up.
Lord for 100 years.
All right, so you got, 45 left, right? So here's the thing. You have to make this choice. Do I want to live however many years I got left, teeter-tottering on this relationship? Should I stay? Should I go? Or am I gonna cash everything in and go all in? And here's what go all in means. Go all in means I'm going to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is, like, if you go look up vulnerable in the dictionary, it means exposed. And exposed means it's like I have a little puppy right now, and that little puppy, when she's wrestling with mother dog, when things get really tense, she'll just roll over on her back. She is exposed. Right. That big dog could bite a hole in her tummy, and it would be all she wrote for that puppy dog, right? So exposed means I'm opening myself up to the possibility of being hurt again. And that's what a marriage is. That's what a relationship is. I am going to put all my cards on the table. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to tell you, I love you, and I'm still struggling. And then what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself an opportunity to be fully, fully loved by this guy. But here's the other edge of that sword. You're going to give yourself an opportunity for him to say, "I don't love you like that, and I'm out."
Right.
Right? And so here's
and that would push me forward. Yeah.
Well, it's not so much, you don't need to push forward. You just need to make a decision. Am I all in? And all in means at some point somebody's got to go first. Do I think it should be you? No, but he's not going to. So it has to be, right?
Right. Right. You are right.
So what I want, I can hear in your heart, you're at a breaking point, right? It's gotta be something other than this. Either I gotta just sit down on this lawn chair and say, "This is the bait I'm going to fish with," or I'm going to cut the line and I'm going to start over. And nobody wants to start over at 55, but I'm telling you what, you don't want to be 70 or 62 and have wife number 5 pop along. You don't want to be 62 and have the old demons of abuse come back without having gone all in and had a conversation about how are we going to live this thing differently.
Right.
A friend of mine, she was in her second marriage. In fact, she was a wonderful, wonderful person. She told me something it gave me a reference point for being a late life second marriage that I just loved. Here's what she said. She said, I'm not going to build another life with somebody. I did that. I was with somebody. We raised kids. We moved from the starter home to the other home, and we had a car, and we wrecked a car. We did all that stuff. We built a life. And then he passed away. And so the way she shifted her view of the second marriage, right? And she was 50, 55. The way she shifted that view was, I'm going to have somebody in my life, and we are going to have more fun. We're going to burn every bit of tread off these tires until we're done, until it's all over. So they are at the lake every week. They are laughing and smiling and carrying on and dealing with each other's arthritis and whatever stuff comes up, and they drop off each other at the doctor's appointments. They have a totally different view. They are not trying to recreate the Notebook. They are trying to love one another and have a blast. And that starts with a conversation, right, Patty? That starts with you having this conversation. Here's how I want it to go. I want you to let your husband know, hey, we're going to have a DTI. It's what the kids, DTR. That's right. It's what the kids call it. We're going to have a define the relationship. And he's going to look at you cross-eyed. Because if you were my wife, I'd look at you. I don't even know what that means, honey. We're going to have a DTR. It's what the kids are doing, honey. And then I want you and him, this is old school Delony, I want y'all to go get breakfast together. And I want you to tell him, I'm going all in. It's been a couple of years. It's been a year, 2 years since you came back. I've hedged my bets. You hurt me in the past. You know that. We're not going to go all over that again. You have healed from your abusive past. You've quit drinking so much. I'm trusting you that you're not cheating on me anymore. And I'm ready to go all in. Here's what that's going to look like. And I'm being vulnerable here. You can really hurt me right now, so be gentle. But I want you to love me like crazy. I want you to get up early every once in a while and make me breakfast. And I want you to tell me that I'm beautiful. I want you to tell me that you're so glad that I'm waking up in the bed next to you, even when my breath stinks, even when my hair looks crazy, all of that. And I want you to love me like this. And Patty, you deserve that conversation. You deserve that sort of marriage. And my hope is that he looks at you and his eyes tear up and he says, oh, Patty, I'm all in. And he says, I was embarrassed and ashamed for how I treated you in the past, and I've been struggling to come back. And now that I hear that you're all in, I'm all in too, baby. I'm all in. And here's what that's going to look like. But just keep one eye open, because here's what could happen. He could say, I'm not going to do that. And then you're going to have a decision to make, but at least you know. Right now you're drowning in ambiguity, and at least you'll know. So while we're here, thank you so much for that call, Patty. I'm grateful for you. I really want to know how that conversation goes, and I want to know what the next steps. And hey, before I leave this, Patty, I got to just say this. So many folks I talk to day after day after day, I just want to know what God wants me to do. I met with a pastor, and what am I supposed to do? I've been thinking about these things. I just don't know what to do. Just take a step. Just take a step. We get so paralyzed by what's the next step. We get so paralyzed by what God is asking us to do. We get so paralyzed by fill in the blank. Just take the next step. And know that love and trust are things you practice. Titanic lied to us. The Notebook lied to us. You just got to practice it. And then you got to negotiate what that even looks like together. And that starts with that vulnerable conversation. Again, while we're here, let's talk real quick. The hardest thing about moving past infidelity is twofold. Number one, you lose trust in somebody else, right? They violated your core values. You said you would be there. You said I was the only one, and you violated that. And when someone cheats on you, when someone violates your covenant, you lose trust in yourself. Why did I not see this coming? How could I have been with somebody who was going to be like that? I should have known. Now I don't trust anything. Every time he says he's going to the store, I just think, oh, who's he with? Every time she says, hey, I'm just going to the gym, I just like, oh, who's she with? And you just make yourself nuts, right? So here's the thing. Infidelity tells us a lie, which is you're replaceable. Well, that's not really a lie. Technically, you are, right? Technically, somebody can walk in and say, you know what, you weren't the one for me, I'm out. That's so scary. And so when you're thinking about coming back from infidelity, you got to remember every relationship starts with risk, not with certainty, with risk. If it's all guaranteed, man, there's no desire there. If it's all guaranteed, there's no passion there. It's like a relationship with a math teacher. Like, I know she's going to be there. I'm going to be there, right? My business professor, my law professor, I know she's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Man, that's not a deep, powerful, strong covenant marriage relationship, right? So if you're going to stay with somebody after infidelity, right? I don't tell people to get divorced except in very rare situations. Here's the deal. If you decide I'm going to stay, you got to be all in. You can't go part ways in, and I know that sets you up to get hurt again. And that's like swimming upstream, right? You can get hurt again. You can drown because you're going back in that same lake. If you decide you want to forgive, to stay, to rebuild, you've got to do just that. Rebuild something new. You can't go back to what was, right? So Patty, you're not trying to reclaim what happened before you found your husband's stuff on the phone. You're not trying to reclaim what once was. You're building something new. Whether you're 25, 45, 55, 85. You're building something new. You've got to look at it like we are building a new tower together. We're not going to sweep up all the old dust and ash and glass and twisted metal and try to rebuild it with that materials. Nope. We're going to excavate that site. We're going to build something new. And we're going to do it together. And I see it all the time when someone says, I'm going to stay with them. I'm going to stay with that woman. But they only stay part ways. And you're just shooting a hole in the lifeboat. If you're going to be all in, you're going to be all in. You're going to have to get a couple of friends who are going to walk alongside you because it's hard to rebuild trust. You're going to have people you can reach out to. You're probably going to need a marriage counselor to walk you through this. If you ask any marriage counselor worth their salt, what's one of the most common and less worrisome things you can work back from, they'll tell you infidelity. Marriage counselors are not scared of couples coming back from that because they do it all the time, but they both have to decide we're both all in. We're going to address the underlying issues. We're going to get to the root of some of these challenges, and then we're going to build something new. We're going to be all in. You can do it.